Hey guys, I'm Peggy from the Witch's Garden, trying to go a cut flower garden here on my allotment in Kanagawa Prefecture, Japan. Thanks for checking out my channel. Okay, so it's been just over a week since I was last down at the garden because it has been chucking down raining all week, so I've not been able to get down. There's a break in the weather today. It's supposed to be nice today, and then it's going to start raining again all this week. So the big news this week is my mum's here. Garden helper! Yay!
Complete with mosquito net.
Yeah, because it's been raining, the mosquitoes are a bit crazy today. So let's put our hats on and have a look around the garden and see what's happened since we were last here.
So
Lovely. Okay, so this is the garden this week, and as you can see, there is a lot of height on everything, which is great news. So this is the first lot of sunflowers that I put in, and we're almost there. They're starting to open up. And because I pinched them, you can see this is the same sunflower, so it's another big branch coming off it. Now this one has grown a lot in the last week, and it was stuck on the net. Now the netting I put in to try and give them support and make sure they grow nice and straight, but because this one got stuck on the net and kept growing, it's a bit wonky. A bit wonky. It's a bit of a helter-skelter going on there. But hopefully by the time the bloom actually comes out, it'll straighten up a bit. And you can see the difference between these ones that were the first ones to put in and the ones over there, and then these ones that went in just a week later. So, I mean, there's a massive amount of growth. These ones I did pinch out last time I was here though. And you can see that these two have started. You can see where I pinched it here. And then I've got my two new ones coming out here, and they are already starting to go to flower, which is great. So these are my common, and these are my teddy bear, which I think are just growing slower anyway. But I'm starting to get flower buds on all of them. There's another one that I pinched last time, and it's put out these two shoots. This time it's going a bit slower. But these ones are monsters. These are almost as tall as me now. And I know I'm short, so that doesn't take much, but you know, growth in the garden. And they're just thinking about putting out buds. So I think maybe next week I'll be coming down and actually getting some flowers, which is sooner than I thought. The only problem is it's only sunflowers. The rest is still very green. So here are my poppy, and after weeks of doing nothing, they are starting to finally put some height on, but still not very much. Sorry, there's a big truck going past. Not very much, and they are still quite sparse looking. So I'm not expecting much from these, but I might get a few blooms off of them, which is nice. And then right behind them, you can see this is the Dahle Dahlia that I put in from seed because my delphinium didn't germinate. So they're starting to come up. They've been enjoying the rain. And then behind that is my verbascum, which again is leafing out a lot but not getting much height on it. Now these are supposed to be my kind of spike flowers for putting in my bouquet, and I'm not seeing any tall stems coming at all yet. Okay, then down the other end of the garden we're at my dahlia. Now this is one that I pinched, and again you can see where I've pinched it there, and then all of these other shoots that are coming up off of it, which is great, but it's still only about 30 centimeters high. So I'm not sure when I'm actually going to get any plants off of it. The two that I thought were dead, that one's not done much, but this one's starting to leaf out a bit more. So I might get some right at the end of season from that. Then I've got my three other tubers. These two, I put another bit of seed here and another bit of seed there because those are the tubers that rotted in the ground, nothing happened. And those seeds haven't come up either, so two less dahlia than I thought. And then there was one other seedling that I'd grown at home, which has just disappeared from there as well. So I'm actually 3 dahlia less than I thought I would have. But these ones that were the tubers are starting to put height on them as well, and then my seedlings at the back are coming. They're just coming a lot slower than I would like them to, but they are getting there. This one I also pinched out, and you can see it's starting to get multiple branches on it as well. So the pinching seems to be helping. Let's just wait and see how many flowers I actually get from them. A flower! I got a flower! These are from my cosmos, which are still quite short. They're maybe about 2 foot. And this one is really nice and big and bushy at the front. But I am starting, I've got one flower, I don't even see buds on the rest of them. But they're putting on height and bushing out after being pinched, so that's great. And then behind them you can see my Zinnia. Okay, so these are my Zinnia, and these are getting lots of height on them.
And buds.
And we are starting to get some flower buds on there too, which is great. These are my peaches and cream, so you can see this one is quite a dark pink it's going to be, and then the one down there is more of a peachy, orangey colour. I'm not quite ready for cutting yet, but getting there. And again, these are still quite short for Zinnia. I expected them to get a bit higher still, but they'll keep putting out all through the season, so maybe the first ones I cut will be short and then the other ones will get bigger. Something has been eating him. So these are the first ones that I put in, and then a week later I put in these. So there's another row of peaches and cream here, and then the green twist, green Zinnia that I put in as well. But these ones are also, even though they were a week later, they are also starting to get buds on them too. So flowers next week, at least maybe sunflower and a couple of Zinnia, which is good. Then we move on to the kind of miscellaneous row. So this was supposed to be my scabious black knight. Now I think I looked up and that is actually what scabious is supposed to look like, but it's the only one in the row. And that looks like some of my Nigella. So I don't know if one of the Nigella seeds just got really, really washed out by the rain and has come down here, but I'm just going to leave it there. It's a flower, it's fine. This is my Calendula, which I also thought would be getting taller, and it's not, but it also has one bud on it. Now I'm supposed to pinch these out, but they still look too small for pinching. So I might just not pinch them this year and see what happens, because they're still really tiny. They're maybe 20 centimeters tall. This is my Nigella. So the first row was the black caraway, and it's really not done much. I've only got 4 plants left, and it's putting out flowers and buds, but it's really, really short. You know, I can't cut that and use it for anything, so they're not liking being in here. And then this is my Nigella Miss Jekyll Alba, which is doing much better, as in more of them have germinated, and I've actually thinned this out. But it's not putting on much height either. Now none of these seem to be flowering. There's one little one along at the end there. But I thought these would get a lot taller before they started doing anything. So I'm a bit confused by that. Then we have my Verbena, which is doing really well now. It's finally a nice tall one, and it's starting to put out some flowers on it as well. I've got 2 spikes of flowers on that. I don't think I want to cut them because they've got more coming in here. So I might just leave that bit. This is my Echinacea. I've only got one. Now I did check that that is actually Echinacea, and it is. But that's the only one that's come through, which is a little bit disappointing. And then more scabious field, but that's all they've done. Nowhere near coming to flowering yet. Then next I have my Ergoneum. Mum, is that how you say it? Those little thistle things? I think so. Ergonum. This one was supposed to be Blue Hobbit, and there is nothing. Absolutely nothing there. And this one is Ergoneum planium, apparently. And of all the ones that I put in, there are only 2 little ones here that have survived. So yeah, I'm a bit disappointed about that. Then the next row back is my aster, which I really want to grow because they're beautiful aster. And these were quite big when I put them in from home. I thought they would have done more, but they're not. They're really, really slow growing and nowhere near thinking about budding yet either. Got mosquito stuff on the inside of my mosquito net. And then these are my little pink ball things. Now, if you remember, these had all grown in a clump, and I dug them up and transplanted them. Oh, look, a pretty beetle just flew away. I dug them up and transplanted some of them last week to give them a bit more space between them. And that seems to have not bothered them at all. They're all still growing really nicely, so that's nice. I actually have a full row. And then these are my bunny tails. I mean, they're growing, but again, I thought this was, you know, it's a type of grass, and grass is usually a weed and grows really fast, but they're not doing very much at all. But they are there. Talking about grasses, though, these are my ponytails, and they're doing even less. I mean, there were 6 in here. Now there's one that's kind of fluffing out a little bit, and one that's hanging on for dear life there in amongst that weeds. and the others are all just gone. Now remember there was one that got dug up by something, and the rest just seem to have disappeared. So yeah, I thought my grasses would do a lot better, but they are not liking this at all. This is my very sad bit of the garden where nothing is really happening. This is supposed to be my Achillea, and none of it's come up. That has come up. I don't think that's an Achillea, although where I planted the other Achillea, there's another one of those. But it might just be that the same weed is growing in two places, but I've just left it to see what it does. This is supposed to be my Dahle Dahlia. Now that is Dahle Dahlia. That is not. I don't know what that is. And then this one, which is growing really well and is getting height on it, is not one of mine. This is definitely a tomato plant. But as there's nothing else growing in here, I'm just going to let it grow and get myself some tomatoes. Yeah. I mean, it's not getting in the way of anything else here, so yeah, I'm just going to let that go. But this is all supposed to be my filler, and unless I put tomatoes in bouquets, there's not going to be no filler. So the only thing that's really doing anything is, Mum, what's that called? Amaranth. Forgetting what everything's called. My Amaranth, which is doing really well and has put on a lot of height. And again, I pinched all this out last week, and you can see there's where I pinched, and it's already put on this much height. Again, there's where I pinched, and I've got all of this going on here. So hopefully I'll get some Amaranth to put in things. And then the very last bit is my Ami. And again, I thought this would be bigger and bushier, but at least there's something here. It's put on a lot in the last week actually. It's obviously been liking the rain, and it's starting to bud up a little bit here too. But that should be much taller, so I'm hoping that over the next week it'll start getting bigger and I can actually come and cut some of it to put in as filler, because I've got very little else. Okay, so the garden's been liking the rain and everything's grown up, but that means that the weeds have as well. So basically the only thing I have to do today is some weeding. I did bring a bucket and some water down optimistically, thinking I might have some sunflower to take home, but it looks like they're going to need another week before they start to open up a little. So yeah, it's just weeding and waiting this week. Boo. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the weeding with my funky little tool, because we are good allotment keepers. Mum is going to go along the edge here and take out all these weeds that are actually growing through from next door's garden. And clear up this little walkway just a little bit, because if you look around, everyone else's is really neat and tidy, and I've kind of let mine go a bit. So yeah, just allotment maintenance today. Fun. Whew, hot. So if you've watched any of my earlier videos, you'll know that I decided right at the beginning that I wasn't going to put down weed cloth, because the spacings for all the plants were so different, and I didn't have a blowtorch. I didn't particularly want to go out and buy one to be able to burn the holes in it. And I was worried that I would really regret it and I would have to do so much weeding. But actually, that's been a week of me not doing anything on the allotment, with a lot of rain and then warm weather afterwards, and I thought this place would be overrun with weeds, and it really wasn't. That was really easy to do. Again, I'm loving this tool. It's so easy to get in amongst the plants. And on the likes of the sunflower and the Amaranth and now the Zinnia, where things are coming up and getting tall, there's hardly any weeds under there at all. They're blocking out all the light, so the weeds aren't getting a chance to come up. So I'm really glad actually that I decided not to go with the weed cloth, because it would have just been another expense and a lot of work that I didn't have to do, that wasn't necessary. So yay, that was a good idea. Mum's not used to the Japanese heat. I think she's about to pass out. Hydrate! Hydrate! Okay, so that's it for this week. Just lots of weeding. The garden looks a lot neater than it did to start. Mum's done a great job. Ta-da! I'm clearing up this bit, so it's just more waiting to see if what we're going to get, what's going to blossom first, if everything's going to bloom at the same time, which would be nice. Those sunflower in the middle are so much smaller than the others. It's amazing. That's just 1 week difference, but you can see a drastic difference in them. Anyhow, so yeah, there's not much happening in my garden. I might take you on a little tour of the other allotments around, because it is midsummer, so everyone else is in the middle of their harvest. I can see melon and squash and tomatoes and aubergine and lots of stuff growing. So I might give you a little sneak peek of what else is happening around here. But from us, that's it for this week, and I'll bring you back next week and show you what's changed in maybe bring down a bucket in the hopes that I've actually got some flowers to take home. So thanks for checking out my channel. If you liked it and you want to follow along and see what's going to happen, then remember to hit the subscribe button. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye! Say bye, Mum.
Bye.
Ready to go home?
No.